Hey everyone, Matt Lone Star here. Today I've got a marriage moment for you. Just to remind you, marriage minutes are short 60-second videos. Marriage moments can be a little bit longer. Today I'm just talking to you for a few minutes. In the future, I will be doing some longer podcasts and interviews. There are a lot of marriage stories kind of in my circle of friends that need to be told. They're really complex, complicated, and beautiful, and really encouraging. I know some people who have gone through some tough times and have come out stronger and more in love on the other side, which is pretty awesome. So today, I want to talk to you about a little bit of a humorous time struggle, conflict that my wife and I went through several years ago. This is probably 7 or 8 years ago now. Um, it took us a little while to realize what was going on, but my wife and I kept kind of running into these conflicts where I was kind of upset with her style of communication, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And she felt a little defensive because she didn't realize what was going on either. She didn't know that she was offending me, and why. And I didn't know why I was hurt. I mean, like, I'm a dude, I should be tough. What am I so offended for? um, but one day I figured out what was going on. And just to tell you the story, it's just a short story. I had taken some of my kids somewhere, and we were on our way back, and I went a certain direction to get home and stopped at a certain store to pick up a movie at a Redbox. And I called my wife to talk through the movie choices. And she said, "Where are you?" And I told her where I was, and she was like, "Why did you go that way? Why are you there? Like, that's a much longer way than you could have gone home. And there's other, places you could have stopped at a Redbox." And in that moment, I was just so perturbed. Okay, I'll see you at home. And I literally hung up. And so obviously, when I got home, there was some tension in the air. Um, and we talked about it. We talked through it for a little while, and then I realized you're criticizing choices that I've already made that are nigh inconsequential. Yeah, maybe a few more minutes to get home, but like really not conversation that needs to happen. These are kind of worthless words at this point to be talking about. If I had called you ahead of time and said, "Hey, which way should I go home?" Then you could have told me your opinion on the most efficient, fast way to get home. Anyway, we talked through it, and I just realized that there was a pattern of criticizing decisions after the fact, and these were not like large life decisions. These were just small decisions, and it was happening on a frequent basis to the point of me just kind of being done with it and being offended by it very easily. And so I apologized for being offended and acknowledged that I needed to toughen up a little bit. And then she totally apologized for that pattern. But she was also kind of like, I see what I did today, but it's difficult for me to look back and see it as a pattern. And I acknowledged that, and I couldn't really provide a lot of examples in that moment, but she accepted what I said and my characterization of the conflict. Anyway, I think it was like the next day, or maybe a couple days or a few days later, we were getting ready to go to a gathering, and she had asked me to slice this really nice loaf of sourdough bread that we had to take with us to the gathering. And I said, "Sure." So I'm in the kitchen slicing it. I'm probably like 3/4 of the way through slicing it, and she comes in and she goes, "Oh, why'd you slice it so thick? If you'd have sliced it thinner, there'd have been more pieces available for people to take." And I just looked at her like, and she went, "Oh." And she realized, and we both just laughed it off, because at that point, like, it would be silly for me to be offended by that. But it showed her just a very small example, a silly, inconsequential example of what was going on, and why I had kind of begun had kind of begun to bristle and uh, just kind of fume when those sorts of things would happen. So the principle of that, and again, in our life, it was small, inconsequential decisions that honestly just didn't need criticized, didn't need discussed. These were not like parenting decisions. These were not. We were really on the same page with all the big stuff and the important stuff, which was great. But the principle to take out of that is, well, there's two, I guess. If you ask your spouse to do something for you, please provide ample instructions if you have preferences. If you don't, you need to be okay with however it turns out and not criticize. And just remember that next time, provide ample instructions. So it just doesn't become like a little conflict. There's no need. Say, thank you for doing that for me, sweetie. Instead of like, oh, you should have done it this way. And it's worthless. It's unnecessary. The other, I guess, is to just not criticize someone's decisions after the fact, unless it's like outside of the moment and you go, hey, can we sit down and talk about something? This is just one. Can you help me understand why you made this decision, or help me understand how you came to this decision so I can back you up next time, if it's like a parenting decision or whatever. When it's in the moment like that, oh, why'd you do it that way? Like, it just comes across like nitpicky and petty, and it over time, if that's a pattern, I promise you it will drive you apart, and it will make either the husband or the wife, whoever's being criticized, if it's kind of a one-sided thing, it will make your spouse feel just absolutely dejected and like you don't trust them, and like you don't think they're smart, like you're treating me like a child, sort of thing. And it's really important to take little moments every day to lift your spouse up. It's the big things in life are important, but it's the little moments you have every day that you have to take advantage of, or you will over time grow apart. It's just the way it is. So yeah, there you go. And that is no longer a pattern in our life. It never has become that way again. I'm sure there's been a little moment here and there, and I'm sure it's gone both ways. It's not just been my wife criticizing me, but it's not a pattern, and we don't get offended by it. And if in the moment we don't understand why that happened, we just talk to each other about it, and it's not a big deal. So anyway, I hope that's helpful. Please like and subscribe and share these videos, and I appreciate you spending some time with me. Thank you.